Hello everyone, and here's Phoenix with another astrology report for this week, which is the 10th to the 16th of June 2021. I didn't know whether I was going to be able to make a report, to record a report this week, the way things were going, because good old Mercury was really getting in there. Good fun. And so essentially what happened is that, having had a wonderful weekend where I did go out of my shell, so the tortoise stayed in the shell for a bit and then came out, and I had meetups Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Saturday was the first time I've got to see my whole family in over a year, which was fantastic, as it was my mum's birthday had just passed and it was about to be my brother-in-law's 50th, so a perfect time to have that reunion, which is great. Get through that, even though there were a few Mars and Pluto moments over this time as well, with plans going awry. We didn't get to go where we wanted to, but we ended up having a lovely time anyway. When we get to Monday morning, this is where Mercury comes in. So Monday morning, 9:15, the flat is shaking. And the noise. I have not heard something like this properly ever. What was going on was that there was major maintenance work being carried out on the flat just below us. They were drilling through concrete. I don't really know why, because they haven't told us anything, because they didn't tell us that this work was happening. So we didn't know that it was happening, we didn't know how long it was happening, and by the time they finally got back to me, they told me that it would be, the worst day was going to be Monday, and then Tuesday would be, they'd still be working, but it would be a lot less. And come Tuesday, it's still happening. They're still doing this. So I'm literally, I've got to leave the house. I can't be in and work. Can't work on this laptop that doesn't hold its charge. I just needed to be out, and there wasn't a good place to do the recording. And I had been told that it would be for 2 days, and then come Wednesday morning, they're back again, and the flat is vibrating again. And so good old Mercury struck for a second time. First, they didn't tell us that the work was happening, scheduled for Monday and Tuesday, but then they failed to tell us that it was continuing, they'd overrun, and for how long, of which I did go ballistic at them. It's Wednesday afternoon, late, and they have finally finished, and I'm able to do some recording. So this is going to be probably I haven't prepared anywhere near as much as I normally do for these things. So I'm just going to kind of blast through it. And it is what it is for this week. Also, as I'm recording this before the solar eclipse, I hope that you have had an excellent experience. I hope that you were able to get into that receptive state. Fingers crossed that the workmen aren't coming back tomorrow, or today as you hear this, so that I will have been able to do the same. I mean, if not, I will go and find a tree somewhere and do it there. In fact, I might do it there anyway. We shall see. Without further ado, let's go into the astrology report. Here we go. Well, as I already covered the solar eclipse in last week's report, it's time to get down to business for the rest of today and for tomorrow. And I suppose the first question is if you tortoised it through last week or stayed in the cave, is it safe to come out yet? And I do guess that's going to be up to you. How was your solar eclipse experience? How do you feel right now? This is a very individual thing. Astrologically, I think the answer is yes. We have a new moon that starts waxing, one that's heading full in 2 weeks in what will be the last supermoon of 2021, where it will climax, as in hitting its maximum fullness in the sign of Capricorn. Anything that needed to be shared should have gone now. Anything not belonging being released with thanks. And we're building up ourselves in this new space. Running through things today, we have Sun, Moon and Mercury all conjunct in Gemini in that 19 to 20 degree range. Venus and Mars 20 degrees apart in Cancer. Mars is now in that critical degree of Cancer, moving into Leo. Jupiter and Neptune are in Pisces. Uranus and Black Moon Lilith are in Taurus. Pluto is in Capricorn, the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius axis. Mercury, Saturn and Pluto are all retrograde. The general daytime evening influences will have this sense, I think, of still piecing ourselves together again. The eclipses can tear us apart. They can rip us a new one. So they can split our comprehensions and understandings of everything going on around us. The reason I'm saying this now and not saying this at the end of last week's report is I didn't want to, and in fact was guided not to tell you what to expect. There was a need to guide you into being receptive to the moment and have that, rather than just sitting there waiting for a certain thing to happen. Your experience needs to be your own individual experience, and I didn't, and was told not to, interfere with that. Now, just in case you're saying, yeah, but excuse me, I didn't get anything big. There was no aha moment, there was no clarity, something changing inside of me, and that's fine too. It was what it was, and trust that it was what you needed it to be for you. You may have already been doing the work, so there wasn't much to change, or there may still be work to do before change comes on, or it may be that it didn't feel like anything was happening at the time, but it will be revealed. So just hang on, and we will wait and see. And from that base, the next chapter is beginning. And with today we have important placements. We still have Mars opposite Pluto. We have solar, lunar and mercurial alliances facing off against Neptune with assistance from that retrograde Saturn in Aquarius. It is a bit like Saturn is egging on this alliance. Come on, do it. Then the alliance will weaken as the moon moves first and the conjunction between Mercury and the Sun begins to lessen. Now, the fact that there are 3 planets retrograde is, of course, it's a big thing to be aware of, and there are 2 more now entering pre-shadow phases. So that's Saturn, Mercury and Pluto all retrograde right now. And then Jupiter and Neptune shall soon be entering the party. Mercury retrograde, of course, ends on, I think it's the 22nd. So it won't be all 5 together at the same time. We'll have a maximum of 4. Mercury remains in the retrograde after party, that post-retrograde shadow, until early July, so it's not out of the equation yet. So for the rest of the day and the next few days ahead, we are allowing these new energies and messages in, and to integrate them. We're using protection, and we'll keep using that and allow ourselves to be both protected and yet vulnerable, so that we can receive these messages or healing energies. And the key word here is integration. We have had a somewhat rocky road since December's grand conjunction. the new energies have thrown up some major backlashes from lower energies, and highly sensitive people have been infiltrated. There have been attempts to hack us, to separate us from our source, lead us down various rabbit holes. And so like the analogy of the spiritual life being an onion, we have to keep peeling these layers off. We keep needing to be in this state of discernment when we are checking the things that are coming in. I want to go off on a slight tangent here. Last week I said the superconjunction of Sun, Moon and Mercury all trine Saturn and squaring up to Neptune. They complement Saturn in Aquarius retrograde influence, so they're at odds with Neptune in Pisces, and the issues regarding our balancing between our rules, our boundaries, and Neptune's visionary, dreamy, esoteric unity consciousness, which can also be illusion. And there's a conundrum between where the illusion lands and where does it fall apart. Remembering that Saturn in Aquarius is a rebel, and rebels can rebel against progression too. I think it's interestingly seeing in the news that we've had these data dumps, the emails under Freedom of Information and disclosures regarding the COVID, the origin of COVID at this time, and they allegedly implicate both Chinese and American involvement in not only funding controversial gain-of-function research, but allegedly covering up the leak of the virus from a lab, if that is in truly what happened. It also shows perhaps the path that the World Health Organization took to side with money over truth, allegedly. And those specific issues are relatable to where illusion lands and where does it fall. It's not that these things are fact, but it could be a clear revelation, especially as if we look at how it was shut down last year so abruptly. People apparently lost their Facebook accounts, they got thrown off the platform. YouTubers got their videos demonetized when they mentioned it. And it kind of goes to, well, who fact checks these independent fact checkers? What expertise do they have in these areas? What are their qualifications? And I think Saturn in Aquarius squaring Jupiter in Pisces is getting to the point. What is independent and free? What is controlled? What are the narratives? I'm not free falling into the realms of deep state and that Q business, but the allegations here are that individuals and groups of individuals have collaborated and conspired to defraud the populations of the world. And that's coming out now. That's not deep state necessarily, but we'll see what further information will come out. So back on topic, as the week progresses, the moon will move through Gemini, Cancer, Leo and Virgo, and Mars will move into Leo, having moved out of the critical degree. So the second date that I've chosen for this week, it's an event maximising maximum impact on Monday evening at around 8 PM UK time. Why? Well, let's look at the chart. Apart from the quite nice geometric patterns with some symmetry and other beauties, there is a heck of a lot going on at this point in time. These near perfect angles lining up. What we have here is hidden in this is a T-square, which is formed as the moon joins into the Saturn square Uranus combination. They're all three of them at 13 degrees, and we also have Chiron that's also at 12 to 13 degrees. The Sun squares Neptune exactly at 90 degrees, each one 23 degrees in their signs. So we have this box alignment as the two nodes are at 10 degrees. And they create that kind of full house of North Node, Moon, South Node, and Jupiter. The Moon and Jupiter being at 13 degrees and not 10, but that's still within that 5 degrees of variation. Interestingly, we have the Moon positioning itself into a fixed T-square with that Saturn and Uranus squaring that's here all year long. And at this point it will create this kind of 13, 13, 13 T-square, all three at 13 degrees, which we'll go into at the end of this segment. So, and now on Monday, the Moon has moved around to be in Leo. Mercury is retrograde in Gemini at 18 degrees. Venus is almost halfway through its Cancer cycle. Mars is in Leo at 2 degrees and Jupiter is also at 2 degrees in Pisces. As we go more outward, Saturn and Uranus are both at, of course, 13 degrees. Saturn's retrograde in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus. Neptune at Pisces at 23 degrees and Pluto is still in reverse, Pluto in Capricorn, retrograde 26 degrees. The combination of these things point to revelations. Venus is uncomfortable, Mars is strong, heading out of its fight with Pluto. They're not necessarily a victor in that struggle, but there may be truths that we can work with. The Moon will be in Leo too. The only downside to revelations is how do you tell if it's a true revelation or if it's deception? Is it an aha moment or false realization? And that's going to be down to you to remain grounded and connected inwards and working with your own inner compass. The eclipse should have helped you with that inner balancing. Okay, so on to specifically the T-square on Monday night, around 8 PM UK time, so that'll be 3 PM on the East Coast, I think, and noon on the Pacific Coast. This 13-13-13 code is one that seems ominous at first. It brings up challenges and even death in the spiritual sense. 13, unlucky for some. But 13 is also a code for transmutation. And 13-13-13 is an omen of powerful transmutation. So this fixed T-square is coordinated in that 13-13-13 degree. We have 90 degrees of separation between Saturn and Uranus. We have 180 degrees between the Moon and Saturn. We have full opposition. And we have Uranus 90 degrees to the Moon. So we have bam, 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 these harsh angles, this tension in the air between these elements. This T-square has 3 fixed elements: fire, air and earth. Unlike the ones that we encountered a few weeks ago around the eclipse and whatnot, that needed grounding because they lacked earth, this lacks fixed water. And you know what fixed water is? Here it's deep, old, watery Scorpion lady herself, Scorpio. And Scorpio is a somewhat misunderstood but complicated mistress. That Scorpion energy with the sting is what people fear. Likewise the serpent, because she's also seen as the serpent, they might suffocate or poison you. But the deep waters of Scorpio give us this emotional depth that can be unnerving, but rewarding if you're willing to dip your toes in and then go in a bit deeper. In fact, the deeper you go, the more answers you're going to get. What the Moon brings into this equation is simply charged emotions. In Leo, the Moon is a little upfront and personal with it all. The Lioness does not sleep well tonight. Tangling up with Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus and Taurus, we have an old-fashioned melee. We have a Lioness a rebel rouser, and a fish that thinks it's already ascended. I know that kind of sounds like three things walk into a bar type of joke, but I'm afraid the punchline is T square. So it's not funny. The questionable mix here is a recipe for mental emotional gymnastics on Monday night, Tuesday morning, or Monday if you're in America. This placement is only temporarily going to affect us though, thankfully. And that concludes the report for this week. I wish you good integration. Stay safe, stay sane. Remember, we've got more retrogrades coming, and I will catch up with you next week as we do another report. So until then, cheerio. You made it all the way through to the end of this video. Great, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or the usual social media. This is Phoenix saying goodbye.